this video, we'll be talking about something called the distributive property. We'll start by looking at a question like what you see in front of you. A rectangle has a length of x plus 1 and a width of 2. I can illustrate this with some algebra tiles. If I take one of my x unit algebra tiles and then a single unit algebra tile, I can draw something or show something that has a length of x plus 1. And then if I take another single unit algebra tile and fill in my rectangle, I've made a rectangle that has a width of 2 units. So there's my x plus 1 length, my 2 units of width. Question's asking me to find the area. Remember from elementary school, area is equal to length times width. This would then be equal to 2 times x plus 1. How can we simplify this? Well, one way is to look at our algebra tiles that we've already laid out, and it's easy to count out here and see that I have 2 x unit tiles and 2 unit tiles. So the better question is, how did I go from my middle statement here to my final statement? Because we can't always build out our models using algebra tiles. Well, the easy answer is I used something called the distributive property. I multiplied all terms inside the brackets by the term that's outside the brackets. 2 x's and 2 single units. Let's define the distributive property. If I have some number in front of my brackets have some terms inside them, I can distribute the number in front of the brackets inside the brackets by multiplying everything inside the bracket by what's outside the bracket. So I've taken, in this case, the value a, which is outside the bracket, distributed it into the brackets, and multiplied every term inside the bracket by a. A numeric example, let's say I have 5 bracket 3x plus 6. I would distribute that number 5 into the brackets, and I would have 5 times 3x plus 5 times 6. I multiply the coefficients together to get 15x plus 30. Okay, I'm distributing the 5 into the brackets, or I'm doing something called expanding. Let's try a few more examples. Question A, 3 multiplied by, in brackets, x minus 2. So again, we expand or distribute, which means we have 3 multiplied by the variable x plus 3 multiplied by negative 2, and that just simplifies to 3x, take away 6. Question B looks harder because I have a negative number in front of the brackets and 3 terms inside the brackets, but the principle is the same. Take that number and I distribute it to all terms inside the bracket. So I have negative 2 times 5a squared, subtract 2 times negative 7a, subtract 2 times positive 2, which becomes negative 10a squared. Negative times the negative becomes a positive 14a. And then my last term, negative times a positive, stays negative. We can also distribute variables the same way we distribute numbers. So multiplying in question A, x into the brackets, I get x times x plus x times 4. And here I would use my laws of exponents to rewrite that as x squared plus 4x. Example B, same idea, even though it's a trinomial, I can still distribute the variable p into the trinomial. I would get p times 2p squared plus p times negative 3p plus p times 6. Again, we use our exponent laws. Since we're multiplying two variables together that are the same, we would add the exponents. That would be 2p cubed minus 3p squared plus 6p. Okay, one last example in this video. I'm doing something called expanding and simplifying. So our first step is to distribute the 4 into the brackets. So that would be negative 4 times x, subtract 4 times 3. In this question we have a second set of brackets where we need to distribute. So plus 2 times 2x plus 2 times negative 1. Simplifying this, I get 4x minus 12 plus 4x minus 2. You might be at the point now where you can skip the step of rewriting our like terms side by side. Remember that the signs go with the like terms. If you can simplify this without rewriting your terms side by side, that's okay. It's a step you can skip. Negative 4x plus 4x is just 0x. Take away 14, or my final answer, negative 14. So in summary, in this video we talked about distributing. We saw that when we distribute, we multiply all terms in the brackets by the term that is attached to the brackets. We also saw that we can distribute numbers and also variables. So when we're distributing numbers, we're multiplying coefficients. When we distribute variables, we apply exponent laws to variables. Which means we add the exponents.